For this Photoshop tutorial, we're going to look at using the clone stamp tool. Now, the clone stamp tool is a great little tool which allows you to pretty much copy something that is on in your photo and then completely replicate it. And we can use the clone stamp tool to save us a lot of time in altering images, in creating great effects and making images look a lot different than the original file. So what I'm going to do with this clone stamp tool is I'm going to take the image on the screen, which is just a photo of a couple of dolphins and a bit of a boat. I'm going to use the tool to actually remove that section of the boat and then just duplicate those dolphins, and we'll look at some of the options we can use with the clone stamp tool. Now, the tool itself is obviously found in the toolbar, and it's this little stamp looking icon here, or we can press the S key on our keyboard, which is our shortcut. So I'm going to press the S key and my clone stamp tool appears. And as with all tools, there are a bunch of different options that we have at the top of Photoshop. Now, I'm going to make my brush size a little bit smaller, and in this tutorial I'm just going to do a rough use of clone stamp tool. If you want your actual clone item to look realistic, you really need to pay a lot of attention, go into a lot of detail, zoom in a lot on your images, and make sure that you really get the effect down pat, otherwise it can look quite fake. To start with, we're just going to use the actual tool before we go into all the little things we can do with it. So the way the clone stamp tool works is we are going to make a selection of our image, and that's the part that's actually going to be cloned or copied. So to do that, you hold down the Alt key, and when you press the Alt key, you'll notice that the icon changes almost into like a little target. So I'm going to hold down the Alt key and I'm going to select this section of water, just clicking once with my mouse. When I release that key, you'll notice now that when I come over here to the boat and I hold down my left key, the little X appears at my original selection, and that X will continue to move as my mouse moves. Now that X is telling me what section of the image that I am actually cloning or copying. And whilst it's moving, it's making those changes to where my circle is. So I'm able to start to remove the boat and replace it with the water in the image. Now, just for a moment, I'm going to stop and I'm going to go up to Window and go to Clone Source. And this will open up a couple of options for me over here. Sorry, I should have that at the defaults. So these are a few options that we could use with our clone tool, which we'll go into in a bit more detail in a moment. The first one I just wanted you to notice is the fact that now, wherever I click Alt on, so I take my clone, when I move the mouse, you'll notice that it actually gives me a little bit of a preview of the green that's going to replace. It's probably going to be a bit hard to see in the screen, but there's a little bit of green that's showing me what I'm actually going to be cloning. So I'm going to quickly get rid of the rest of this. And remember, like I said, if you're doing this properly, you would really make sure that you try to keep consistency with the type of water that you were using to make it look far more realistic. Okay, so I've removed the boat, and now all I have here is the complete ocean. So what I want to do now is I want to copy or clone one of these dolphins. So one of the options I have over here in the clone source is this little option here, the rotation. So I can actually change the rotation of what it is I'm copying. If I didn't want to, I could simply press down Alt, select my dolphin, and then just copy my dolphin in. So you'll notice how very quick and easy it is if I just want to do a rough copy of the dolphin. So there, I've just completely cloned that dolphin in about 20 seconds. So I'm going to undo that. Now I'm going to change the angle. I'm going to make it an angle of, say, 15 degrees. I'm going to select the nose of the dolphin again, and this time when I copy the dolphin, you'll notice that whilst it's still very simple to copy this dolphin, the angle at which the dolphin appears has altered. So that's one of the little features we can use our clone stamp tool with. Another one is, if we want to make it a little bit more realistic, I want a bit of my dolphin to look like it's submerged underwater. So I'm going to select the nose of my dolphin, and I'm going to copy just the top half. I'm then going to go up to my opacity, and I'm going to start dropping that down to about 56. I'm going to continue with my dolphin. You'll notice now the dolphin looks like he's a little bit underwater, and I'm going to drop my opacity even further, and the tail is barely visible whatsoever. So if you were to play around with your opacity settings, I could actually put in 5-6 dolphins in this image, have each of them appear underwater at different points of their body, which would give us a much more realistic effect, and it wouldn't look as so much like each dolphin had been copied from the other. So that there is the clone stamp tool. Very simple tool to use. It can save you a lot of time, and it can be also a lot of fun. Try putting extra heads on people's, give somebody a third eye. There's a lot of different things you could do with it.